What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing? I hope everybody's doing great. I miss you guys. Hey, listen, we got a lot to talk about here. I'm excited to talk about this one. I'm going to let some demos just run in the background, and I'm going to get right into it because I don't want to be too long on this video. But I will say, guys, that these TVs here, if you want to choose, or if you're still up in the air between these TVs, because you know that the A95L is just praised upon praised all over the internet. But you also know that, the Samsung S95C and the LG are just so pretty much neck and neck with these. And you're still undecided on what you want to do as far as purchasing one of these TVs. I'm here to just try to help a little bit because I own all three of these TVs, as you can see. And I just want to shed some light on some of these features and just talk about these three TVs, and just, maybe it'll help you weigh out your pros and cons. So I'm just going to start with the general basis between all three TVs here. And first and foremost, guys, before I even start, thank you for all your support. Huge uprising in, in subs and views on my videos. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. But let's get right into it. I'm going to start with the 77-inch LG G3. Now, as you guys know, the G series will always come with that Evo panel technology, the Evo panel technology. And it's going to help, just boost your reds, your blue and green subpixels just a little bit more accurately. And then this year they incorporated the MLA technology, which you guys I know already know is basically another layer of like microscopic lenses that sit over the panel, over the OLED panel, to direct the light more towards your eyes. So again, you get more direct light. Picture looks a lot more clear, and it just looks a lot more vivid. It also has the new, processor, the new Alpha 9 Gen 6 processor, which is awesome. I love it. It really stepped it up. I mean, there are some things about it that I even like more than Sony's XR processor, but one of those features that I really like is that brightness booster max. It just gives like an extra brightness to it. But again, I don't really see any difference in game mode. I wish they incorporated that into their game optimizer, but with that being said, it still looks amazing when you're watching content in movies. It also has Cinema, HDR, Dolby Vision, HDR10, and it also, and all those help, obviously, as you guys already know, extend the contrast and brightness, as you already know. I love the LG's WebOS system. I think out of all of them is probably my favorite. I just feel like it's a good happy medium. It's not laggy. It might not be as snappy as the Tizen, but it's, to me, more user-friendly, and it's probably just because that's what I'm used to. I have a hard time kind of figuring out the Google OS system or the Google menu, just because I'm not as used to it, and I feel like it changes a lot more often too than Tizen system or the WebOS system. I just feel like the WebOS system is a little bit more straightforward. But yeah, so then what I like about the dynamic tone mapping in the G3 is it really does refine a lot of the images, which is really cool. So I like that. Expression enhancer also helps kind of boost either the brightness or the detail. It almost reminds me of reality creation in a sense. I know it's not quite the same, but it kind of almost does the same thing, in my personal opinion. Reality creation in the Sony A95L is what I'm talking about. So yeah, and it does it more natively. It just doesn't look as processed, in my personal opinion. So that's why I like about expression enhancer. It can tend to blow out like lighter, like the sun, if you're looking in the sky and things like that. But again, you can change that back and forth if you want, depending on the content that you are playing. Anyways, so the other thing I also like is how in when you're in Dolby Vision for the LG G3, you can it'll automatically like optimize the picture based on the genre that you are in. So that's really cool. Um, so like again, the Alpha Gen 6 processor is pretty cool because what I like about it is that it does improve the noise reductions, it does improve a lot of sharpness and contrast and color, and it really does a good job of upscaling SDR content and HD too as well. So I'm a huge fan of the LG for that reason. Um, Filmmaker mode is awesome too. It'll also adjust the settings to for the director's intent. So we all kind of know how that works. It also has its own clear motion processing too, which is really cool. So now when it comes to gaming, I think gaming is where the LG G3 shines because, and again, I'm just speaking for the LG G3 right now. I'm not saying that it's going to shine over any of the other TVs, but what I will say is that when it comes to gaming, the game optimizer, the built-in game menu setting system is just great. There is no other TV like it. It really kills, buries any other TV that even tries to come close to compete. And the reason why I say that is because it is so customizable, it's not even funny. You're talking about um, the black level controls that you can get with the TV. You're talking, the HDR selection. There's just so much to talk about. So again, when you're in gaming, you have HGIG, uh, great format. If you're looking for a little bit more realistic or accurate colors, I tend to really would go with HGIG. Um, so it just does a nice job of calibrating and tone mapping. Again, just for more accurate details. It also does really good with the shading too. Um, Obviously, the LG will support VRR, ALLM, AMD FreeSync Premium, and NVIDIA G-Sync. We all know that. So that's another step up that it has from a lot of the competition, actually. So cloud gaming is also available in the G3. I don't know how many people are going to do that, but again, you can do cloud gaming with NVIDIA, GeForce Now, and there's a couple other ones too that I'm not too familiar with, but I'm pretty sure some of them are also subscription based. Um, so that's really cool. But the best part about the LG G3, or one of my favorite parts, I should say, is just it has four 2.1 HDMI ports that are running at 120 hertz. So that's really cool. And although it is a 10-bit panel, it can get to 48 gigabytes per second, excuse me, at 444, which is awesome. And it can accept that. So as far as the audio goes, it's a 4.2 channel speaker, audio system, but it does sound thin. There's not a lot of bass. They should really have improved upon that. But again, they do that, I feel like, so you can be forced to feel like you have to buy a soundbar just for more sales. So that's something that a lot of these brands are doing. Not the biggest fan, but again, that's what they do. And not, again, the biggest fan of that. But, it does have DTS, DTSX, and it also has Dolby Atmos. So you're not going to really, lack there if you connect a soundbar to it. What I really like is that it has that AI Sound Pro, excuse me. It's like an AI Sound Pro virtual sound just for more cinematic sound experience. And the cool part is that when you do use it, it is very immersive. I mean, it does bounce the sound around. I do like it. I just wish it had more bass and more thump to it, just had more soul to it. But anyways, one of my other favorite things about the G3 is that the Magic Remote, I'm just a big fan of it. I like using it around like a wand, almost like a Wii controller. It's very user friendly once you start to know how to use it, and you can use the remote a lot faster that way, which I really, really like. So, yes, it does feel a little bit plastic, more like plastic, a little bit more cheap as far as the way the controller feels in your hand. But what it does is really cool, and I like it a lot. So, just a big fan of the Magic Remote. As far as the actual size of the TV and the weight, so basically the overall dimensions, your width of the TV is going to be about 67.5 inches, um, and that's basically from end to end. So, or left to right. So you have to make sure on all three of these TVs that you're going to have a stand that can hold the weight and the width of the TV if you're going to put them on a stand. Their height, or the LG's height, is about 38 inches, or 38 and 3/4 of an inch, on the height from top to bottom. Um, and it's about an inch, it's about 1 1/8 inch in depth as well, the TV. So they're going to be really thin no matter what, whatever one you choose. It is a 300 by 300 VESA, and it comes with the wall mount too, as you guys already know all that. But the overall weight of the LG G3, which is going to be the heaviest out of the three, is 81.1 pounds, or 81.2 pounds, or something like that. I can't really remember off the top of my head. And it does have the best warranty, obviously. I think everybody already knows that. It does come with the 1 year parts and labor warranty, and then the OLED panel warranty for 5 years. So yeah, so that's the LG G3. Now, as far as the overall picture quality, guys, you guys can see it for yourself right here. I know with YouTube compression and the camera, kind of maybe having the QD OLEDs look a little bit more on the pink side. Please try to ignore that. But you guys can clearly see the images are very, very comparable. There's not much of a difference between them. It's just really what you think is more important for you. So I'm going to go to the A95L. So as you guys already know, the A95L has a phenomenal processor, the Cognitive Processor XR. This processor is a beast. The XR Triluminous Max gives you like just a more extended color palette, probably the best one that Sony ever had. So I gotta admit, guys, it is truly something else. It is different, and it definitely is a step up over last year's A95K. I do love that for this TV. The 4K upscaling, the XR 4K upscaling, again, is phenomenal. Now, I would say that's pretty neck and neck with the LG and the Samsung S95C. I feel like those kind of things are really things that shouldn't even be spoken of as much, because all TVs at this point, or most TVs at this point, I should say, kind of got that locked down. But anyways, just wanted to bring that up. The XR OLED motion is definitely an improvement over last year as well. Last year, I could not stand the motion of the A95K. It was just upsetting, especially because the 65-inch came at a retail price of $4,000 at 65 inches. And to bring that in your home and then have that motion just so horrible, in my personal opinion, I did not like it. I'm sensitive to motion. I'm sorry, guys. I know that they get praise up and down online, but you will see that other people on the other end of the spectrum will tell you it is horrible. And I'm one of those people on the A95K. I just couldn't stand it. And maybe it's just because I'm more sensitive to motion, but that's what I've noticed for sure. So Sorry for these ads here, but I'm just gonna try to skip them as they come along. Um, but yeah, so the motion for the A95L definitely, I would say, right up there on the top. So, if not the best out of all of them. But again, that's one of those things that um, when I'm looking at all three TVs, they all look very, very smooth and very, very equal now. So that's how I see it. But everyone's different. I like how the Sony also gives you IMAX enhanced. It's just it just IMAX it just IMAX enhanced is really cool because the way it optimizes the content for HDR in IMAX is just phenomenal. If you like sit there and you just watch an IMAX movie, it is definitely theater like. It's sick. So especially when you're watching it and you hook up a sound bar to it because when you do that, oh my god, it's a different level for home. But anyways, that's another thing that I really do like about it. Um, so yeah, so the other modes that I do like, the picture presets, they're going to be pretty similar, but vivid, I'm not really too crazy about in the Sony. Um, Standard, I will use depending on what I'm watching. Cinema, of course, is great. Game, I feel like game is probably their weakest point for picture graphics, and then obviously you can do custom Dolby Vision, bright or dark room. We already know there's issues there with Sony. There's issues with Dolby Vision in general. I feel like no matter what TV you're looking at, um, depending on the technology of the panel and things like that. I just feel like Dolby Vision just has a little bit more work to do because HDR10 and HDR10 Plus look way better on all the TVs. Again, this is a personal opinion, but um, that's just my take on it. Um, so the brightness settings are really cool on the A95L, with especially with reality creation. I'm a big fan of that, and live color, another big fan of that too. So what I like about live color is it does make the scene by scene, it does make the colors more vivid depending on what is being displayed through the panel. I'm a big fan of that. That's really cool. And with the reality creation, the nice thing how it really does like step up the clarity, makes the gradation a lot smoother, um, and just cancels out a lot of that noise that you get. So it just prevents the noise reduction and things like that. So I like it a lot. Um, and then when it comes to that motion technology, if you guys want to use it, it has the scene technology. The scene motion, it does provide um, just more picture movement to reduce blur, graininess for films that are 24 FPS, but it does give you a little bit more of a soap opera effect. So it depends on what you're really, you know, really watching and what you prefer. But when it comes to the audio on the A95, guys, on the A95L, let me just tell you, the Acoustic Surface Audio Plus is the real deal. All right. I used to think it was a gimmick. Just don't get me wrong. But it is the real deal. What I like about it is it definitely gives you a more immersive feel, especially the way they produce a sound through the panel. It is truly amazing. I'm a huge fan of it, guys. I love it. And it is unbeatable out of all TVs that I've ever owned. The A95L to me personally has the best sound out of every TV I literally have ever owned. Um, it has 3D audio upscaling, which is phenomenal. Um, you have that center sync technology, which I know a lot of TVs have their own name for it, but I just feel like Sony does it the best because then you can use your center speakers or your TV speakers as your center channel. And with the A95L having such great sound quality and being able to use that as your center channel and attach that to a Sony soundbar and a Sony subwoofer, it's over. I mean, you really need nothing else. So that's what I really like about that. Um, the cool part is that even though it's a 2.2 channel speaker setup, it makes like it has this technology that makes it sound like a 5.1 channel sound system. So that's really cool. And then the XR sound position is really cool too. So it gives sound processing. It just mimics the human ear. It just makes it sound more realistic. It's great. Now, when it comes to gaming on the A95L, I'm not the biggest fan. I feel like it's kind of a joke um, because the gaming menu, I just feel like they just kind of threw there just to say they have a gaming menu on paper. It does nothing. It's like big deal. It has crosshairs. It's big. It doesn't do anything. It's you know what I mean. And then it has RTS, FPS, and I forgot the other one. Um, but it's to me it's a joke. And then the black levelizer is a joke. It's there's you can't do anything. Yes, you can go back into picture settings and change them around that way, but it's really not uh, an actual game optimizer. I just feel like they kind of just threw it in there and that was it. And it's dark. It's even darker than the LG G3, and that's another thing that kind of aggravates me about this whole gaming comparison is because when the G3 came out, everybody was saying that the the uh, the G3 gaming is broken. How could they do that? Doesn't make any sense. Da 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 da. But it but on the A95L, it's even darker than the LG G3 or more dim, less features, but they're not saying that's broken or anything like that. So again, it's just kind of like almost like a hypocritical statement in my personal opinion, because why would you say the LG G3 uh, gaming system or gaming is broken or game mode is broken, but not say the A95L game mode is broken? It just makes no sense to me at all. So um, the game optimizer on the LG G3 is great. So whatever anybody tells you, don't listen to it. In my personal opinion, I really do like the way the gaming menu is set up, and it can get brighter than the A95L in game mode. The A95L is more dim. I turn off all the eco settings. I try to put it on its brightest levels you can possibly put it, without messing with the gamma too much, because then you start lifting the blacks and it looks pretty bad. And then the picture starts to look washed out, and it's just not a fan of the way it looks when you do that. So um, trust me when I tell you guys, I play these TVs heavily. The G3 has a better gaming menu than the A95L. The A95L does have the detail when it comes to gaming, don't get me wrong, and the colors look fantastic, but it is more dim than the G3. So if you're looking for brightness, yeah, and you're choosing between these two TVs, you're probably going to go with the G3 because it does have the better gaming optimizer and it does have more brightness than the A95L. That's a different story against the S95C. So that's just my take on the gaming. But with that being said, it does have VRR, it does have ALLM, it does have great input lag on the A95L. Again, those preset black equalizers are only about 3 levels, so I'm not a fan of that. The HDR tone mapping is like automatic, which is really cool for the PS5. So once you hook up your PS5, it does it for you automatically. That is exclusive to the A95L or probably any other Sony as well, which is really cool. Dolby Vision Gaming is now available, which is awesome. So for all the Xbox Series X people, that's cool. Don't know how much of a difference it makes. I hear that people rather play in HDR10 anyways, but that's available now. And again, it's good. It looks good, but just not the biggest fan. So the dimensions on this, again, the width is about the same as the G3, 67 and 5/8 inches wide. Now keep in mind when it comes to the A95L, you have to definitely have a stand that's wide enough if you want to use the outside legs to raise the TV higher, so you can put a sound bar under there. So you have to have uh, a stand that's at least 68, 69 inches wide, probably even wider, because your legs really go to the very end of the TV, which is again about 67 and 5/8 inches. So if you don't care about a sound bar going, in between or in front of, then yeah, you can go ahead, and if you don't have a stand that's that wide, as you can see on my TV, I set it up in the middle, but you're not able to raise the legs higher to put a sound bar in there when you install them in the center area. So they're pretty much flush to the bottom of the stand. So just keep that in mind. The depth of the excuse me the depth of the TV of the A95L without the stand legs or without the legs is about 1 inch, 1 and 7/8 inch, and then obviously with the stand with the legs, it's about 16 and 1/4 inches. So again, you have to have. I would recommend a stand that's also about 18 inches, 20 inches in depth if you can. I know those are a little bit harder to find, especially if you plan on putting a sound bar in there. So yeah, so that's kind of, but that's kind of my take on it. The A95L is about 81 pounds, about 81.3 pounds the with the legs, and it's about 77.6, 77.7 pounds without the legs. So it is definitely on the heavier side too, right there, pretty close to the LG G3. And it is a 300 by 300 vessel hole for TV mounts. What I do like about the remote control on the A95L is it feels premium. It feels nice and heavy. Has some weight to it. It feels expensive, and it has a backlight, which you guys all know, and it also has a remote finder, a button that you can press on the A95L to go ahead and find and set off an alarm to find your remote if you can't find it. So that's really cool. So they all have their own little advantages over each other. But again, the warranty is pretty standard on the A95L. You got a 1 year parts and labor warranty on the A95L. And I'm hearing from a lot of people out there that the TV or Sony has horrible customer service. I personally never had to deal with it. I had to deal with Samsung before, and their customer service was horrible. But I never had to deal with Sony. So let me know, guys, if you had to deal with Sony's customer service, Samsung's or LG's, and whether it was good or whether it was bad. I'd really like to know out of your experience. But now to the S95C, the Samsung S95C, another gorgeous TV. So this TV, I get mixed feelings about because, again, when the TV is working and you're not getting any, let's say, dropouts when you're playing games, I mean, you just fall in love with the TV. It's got the color punch, it's got the brightness, got great detail. It is, to me, the best gaming TV as far as the way the TV looks. Menu wise, not so much. So the game menu is good. Don't get me wrong. I do like it. You have a huge selection of HDR formats that you can use in the S95C that are terrific. It has HDR 10 Plus or HDR Gaming 10 Plus, which is out of all three TVs the only one that has HDR 10 Plus or HDR Gaming 10 Plus. Um, it has advanced HDR 10 Plus, and then it has HDR, and then HDR Basic. So I mean, it's just the list goes on. Um, all of those HDR modes look fantastic. It really does depend on what game you're playing, and plus it has a slew of gaming presets like FPS, RPG, RTS. It keeps going on. So it does have a fantastic gaming menu. The only thing that you can't do as good as the LG in the S95C is fine tune. Yeah, you can kind of you will be able to customize like shadow details and things like that to a certain point, color of course, brightness and tone mapping and things like that, but fine tuning them is a whole different story. So you can't do it as good as the G3, although I would say if you're looking for a TV that has all the cool gaming features, 2.1 HDMI ports, you're looking for brighter color, you're looking for more vivid color and brightness, yeah, you're most likely going to go with the S95C. It is more of a plug and play type of TV when it comes to gaming. Maybe the details, I would say, are not as great as the A95L or the G3 when it comes to gaming, but it does make it up with the color saturation. It does make it up with with the pop. And again, the gaming features are phenomenal in the S95C. I do like overall the G3 the best when it comes to gaming as far as the game menu goes, but it's hard not to like the S95C in gaming when it's actually working properly. So yeah, so that's one of my big things about that. Game Motion Plus also is really good for smooth gameplay on the S95C. Um, the cool part is it has like the S95C also has that super wide like ultra game view. Lets you adjust the screen aspect ratio even down to 32.9, which is really cool. And you can move the screen position around too, which is awesome. To like, especially if you have it up high to like eye level, or you can move it to the left or right. It's good for PC players. But HDR gaming again is phenomenal. You got like I said, the gaming HDR 10 plus, basic, and advanced. The gaming menu does let you check like the input lag to make adjustments for like your frames per second, HDR and your wireless headset settings and more. So it's really cool. Also has Game Hub as well, which is cool. So you can stream your games from Xbox. I know it's lackluster and it kind of lags and there's a lot of things, but it is a step up and it is a moving forward thing. So I do like it, and who knows? It might be the future, and you never know. But it does have the NVIDIA GeForce now. You can do Google Stadia, other platforms that you can do streaming, gaming and streaming. The One Connect box, not a fan of, guys. I just feel like it's just another outlet for something else to go wrong. I am more of a fan of like the built-in. I'm just going to bring this back. The built-in inputs and things like that. But I did want to get the S95C just because I had to. But yeah, so that's my take on that one. The ARC and eARC support for all three of them. And sound. Let's talk about sound out of the... again, it is a 4.2.2 channel speaker system, 70 watts, which is actually, I know on paper sounds good, but it's not good. Just that simple. I don't like it. It sounds tinny. It sounds thin. There's barely any bass to it. It just, you got to get a sound bar if you're looking for better sound quality. It's kind of just upsetting because the TV looks great. You're watching this great movie, and then the sound that's coming out of it is just like, eh, it doesn't do anything. It's not moving. So sound to me is just as important as picture quality, especially if you live in an apartment where you can't get a sound bar. You probably would rather go with the S or the A95L just because the built-in sound system is great. Can't go wrong. Obviously, it's going to have Dolby Atmos for the S95C. You're going to get, which is cool about the S95C though, it does have that object tracking too. Detects more so like more of a 3D. So again, they all have their own name, but it does have its own 3D sound. Um, and it does have the active voice amplifier too, which is really nice for like ambient room noise and just for clear dialogue, which is cool. It does have the Q Symphony compatible technology. So if you get a Samsung soundbar, you can make your TV the center channel as well. My favorite thing about this TV is how, well, not my favorite thing, but this TV probably has one of my favorite things is the remote. What I do like about the remote control is that it is like that solar cell remote. So it charges based off of the light or radioactive, just radioactivity going on in your house. It's really neat. So I am a fan of that. The reason why is because, again, it is forward thinking and the technology, I just feel like should be in all uh, controllers. I mean, it just makes sense. If one brand can do it, then that means all the other brands can. And I just like the way that's thought out. It's smart and it is forward thinking, which is really cool. So the width of the TV is 67 and 5/8 inches. Height again is 38 and 3/4 inches. The depth is about 3/4 with no stand of an inch. And then the height of the TV is about 41 and 3/8 of inches. And then the depth is about 1/3 of an inch without the stand. And then the weight with the stand is 88.2 pounds. Without the stand, it is the lightest of the three at 62, I think point like 2 or 3 pounds, or if I remember that correctly. And it is a vest amount of 400 by 400. So the warranty is pretty basic. 1 year parts and labor. The 77 inches retailing for $35.99 on the S95C, $34.99 on the G3, and $4,999 for the A95L. I hope this helps, guys. I don't know what you would choose based off of what I am saying, but what I will say is that if you're gaming, I would probably say, if you're going to use this primarily for gaming, I would probably say you should really be choosing between the G3 or the S95C, depending on whether you like the brightness, the color pop. Yeah, you'll go with the S95C, but if you really like to customize and fine tune your settings, believe me when I tell you, the G3 is the best for that. No one even comes close. The A95L in gaming, for the menu, is pretty much a joke, but I will say, as far as it is the happy medium, because it does have probably the best detail in gaming or just in picture period at all. It will give you the most detail out of all three TVs. Now, it is, out of personal experience, hard to tell the difference in a lot of scenes, but it does come really, really close. So with the A95L, there are parts when you're gaming that make the TV look bright, but not brighter than the G3. And then the Samsung S95C just always looks brighter than both of them. and has more color. Like you can turn the color down to like even 19 or something on the S95C, and it will still have more color vibrancy, more color saturation than both the A95L and the LG G3. The LG G3 to me for color is probably the happy medium because it's not as saturated as the S95C, but it's still has more color pop or more color than the G3 and less effort too. So like you can keep the, let's say you like your color, for example, at about 55 or 50. Well, to get to that same color, you probably have to put it up on an LG G3 to about 65. You know what I mean? So, and then the color would look more similar. Um, so again, it all depends on what you're looking for or how you like. Like for me, I understand the menu best on the LG G3, like how to fine tune the white balance, um, how to fine tune the colors, the tone mapping, and things like that. But you may like the Sony A95L in that perspective better, and you may like the S95C better because it's like a little bit less involved and it is a little bit more plug and play for the S95C. But everyone's again has their own personal take on it. So I hope this helps, guys. Thank you so much. And I will be doing another comparison, an HDR10 comparison in movies soon. I hope you guys are there to watch that. And I'm looking forward to seeing what your comments are on this video and all the other videos that are coming in the future. And I hope that this helps. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you.